His spirit felt empty. Under the broom tree, the desert showed no mercy. The sun burned high above, and the silence pressed heavily on the land. Under the broom tree, the desert showed no mercy. The sun burned high above, and the silence pressed heavily on the land. The prophet Elijah, exhausted from the long journey and the weight of his calling, finally collapsed beneath a solitary broom tree. His strength was gone. His spirit felt empty. "Enough, Lord," he whispered. "Take my life." There, between sand and shadow, Elijah fell into a deep sleep, overwhelmed by weariness and despair. Then a gentle touch awakened him. An angel of the Lord stood beside him, not with judgment, but with compassion. The angel spoke softly, "Get up and eat." Beside Elijah lay freshly baked bread and a jar of water. He drank and lay down again. A second time, the angel touched him and said, "Get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you." Strength returned not only to Elijah's body, but to his soul. He rose and began to walk. For 40 days and 40 nights, he traveled through wilderness and silence, until he reached Mount Horeb, the mountain of God. There, Elijah understood that he had never been alone. And so it is with us. There are moments when the road feels endless, when our strength fails and our hearts grow weary. But the Lord does not abandon us beneath the broom tree. He comes near, gives us what we need, and walks with us, until we are strong enough to continue. You are not alone. You never have been. "12 legions unseen." The night was heavy in Gethsemane. Torches cut through the darkness as soldiers advanced, armor clanking, hands tight around swords. Betrayal stood at the front, a kiss still warm in the air. Fear moved among the disciples like a storm about to break. One blade flashed. Steel rang as Peter struck, and blood fell to the ground. The moment shattered the silence, and in that instant, the world held its breath. Jesus did not run. He raised his hand, and the violence stopped. His eyes lifted not in fear, but in certainty, toward a sky that looked silent, yet was anything but. For beyond the veil of night stood armies unseen. Legions upon legions of angels waited, wings folded, weapons of fire restrained by a single command. At one word, the earth would split. At one breath, the soldiers would fall like dust. Heaven itself was poised to descend. And he knew it. "Do you think I cannot call on my Father?" he said calmly. "And he will at once put at my disposal more than 12 legions of angels?" The soldiers laughed, unaware how close they stood to annihilation. But no command came. The angels did not move. Power chose restraint. Authority chose surrender. Love chose the cross. Jesus lowered his hand and stepped forward, allowing himself to be bound, not because he was weak, but because he was obedient. Not because heaven was silent, but because heaven was waiting. The angels watched as their king was led away. And the universe learned a truth greater than force. The greatest power is not the ability to destroy, but the strength to save at any cost. The Garden of Eden was never a paradise. It was a sealed place where heaven first touched the earth. There began the experiment, when the beings later called the sons of God altered human flesh and awakened a mind meant to obey, not to understand. But one among them opened what should have remained sealed, and humanity awakened. That was the true sin, knowledge. Cast out from Eden, humankind multiplied and split into two paths. The lineage of Cain built cities of stone and towers of pride. The lineage of Seth remembered the voice above, and in the days of Enosh, men began to call upon the name of the Lord, and their cry once again reached the heavens. Then came the second transgression. The sons of God looked upon the daughters of men and descended. From that forbidden union the Nephilim were born, giants of immense strength and unrestrained will. They ruled by violence, feasted in arrogance, and filled the earth with corruption. The experiment had spiraled beyond control. Yet amid the noise and the pride, one man walked differently. Noah found favor. While giants laughed and crowds mocked, he listened and obeyed. He built the ark under open skies, wood rising day by day, a warning no one believed. Then the door was shut. The sky broke open. The fountains of the deep burst forth. Towers fell, giants were swallowed, and the world that had crossed forbidden boundaries was erased by water. The flood was not only destruction, it was containment. When the waters withdrew, the earth stood silent. The giants were gone. The heavens were distant once more. But the experiment continued, this time with a warning written into the memory of the world. Whenever heaven and earth unite in pride, creation itself rises to restore the boundary. And that ancient story, though buried beneath water and time, has not yet reached its end. The Battle of the Archangel Gabriel. In Babylon, the prophet Daniel prayed with a troubled heart. He fasted, seeking answers for his people, and for days the heavens seemed silent. But the silence was not absence. It was war. From the moment Daniel began to pray, God answered and sent the Archangel Gabriel with a divine message. Gabriel descended through the heavens, carrying revelation and truth, but he was stopped. In the unseen realm, the prince of Persia rose against him, a powerful ruler of darkness. Their clash shook the heavens, light against shadow, obedience against rebellion. For 21 days, the battle raged, mirroring Daniel's fasting on earth. When the resistance could not be broken, heaven intervened. The Archangel Michael, commander of God's armies, descended with unstoppable authority. With a single strike, he shattered the hold of the Prince of Persia and opened the way. Freed, Gabriel continued his mission and appeared before Daniel, radiant and strong. From the first day you set your heart to understand and humbled yourself, your prayer was heard. Yet the war was not finished. As Gabriel prepared to return, he warned that another power waited in the shadows, the Prince of Greece, a coming darkness tied to future kingdoms. The message had been delivered. The prayer had been answered. The battle continued. For every time the faithful pray, heaven moves, angels fight, and though unseen by human eyes, no prayer is ever ignored.
The forest knows you are here. I didn't come to hurt anyone. That is what they all say. You must be cautious. I sense great power in this meat.
You walk on living ground.
We are not separate from this world.
Weapons hot, eyes open. This planet is watching us. Sir, the ground is glowing. You walk on living ground, metal beings.
We're not here to fight. Captain, they're everywhere.
Your fear shines louder than your weapons. This planet reacts like a nervous system. Then we're cutting deep. The Sky Invaders do not listen. Then the world must answer.
I was trained to destroy, not to feel this.
Now you hear the planet breathe. Command orders full strike. There are villages out there! Defend the heart! They're everywhere!
You have killed a memory older than your stars.
Call it off. We finished the mission. I choose life.
The Cyclops is the giant with a single eye, a colossal creature born from ancient myth, brute force, and isolation. Legends describe it as an enormous being with one gigantic eye in the center of its forehead, an eye that watches without mercy and never sleeps. Its body appears to be made of living stone, muscles hardened by endless labor and survival. The Cyclops lives apart from the world of men, dwelling in caves and desolate lands. It does not farm. It does not build cities. It hunts. It survives. It endures. Feared by humans and gods alike, the Cyclops represents power without law, strength without civilization. Yet it is not a mindless beast. It knows fire. It forges. Remembers. In ancient times, the Cyclops was both monster and craftsman, creator of legendary weapons, master of iron and thunder. Its single eye symbolizes brutal focus, seeing only what stands before it, prey, threat, or challenge. The Cyclops is not evil by nature. It is ancient, it is alone, and it is unstoppable.
Saving your friend in a zombie apocalypse during a journey through the pyramids of Egypt. The scorching sun hangs over the pyramids of Giza as your journey turns into a nightmare. What was once a place of wonder becomes a battlefield when the dead rise from ancient tombs. Mummified zombies, wrapped in torn linen and covered in sand, emerge from hidden chambers beneath the pyramids. Your friend is separated from you inside a collapsing passageway beneath the Great Pyramid. Their voice crackles through the radio, filled with fear. You rush through narrow corridors lined with hieroglyphs, using torches and flares to light your way as shadows move along the walls. Zombies pour from secret tunnels. You push fallen stone blocks, slide down sand-covered ramps, and seal doors just long enough to survive. Deep inside the pyramid, you find your friend trapped near an open sarcophagus as the ceiling begins to collapse. You pull them free and run. Stone crashes behind you, burying the undead in dust and darkness. Together, you escape into the open desert as night falls. Under the moonlight, the pyramid stands silent, ancient witnesses to yet another apocalypse. You survived because you never left your friend behind.
The world did not sleep last night. It feels pain. Anger. Sir, the terrain is reacting to us. Ignore it. Keep moving.
When the ground glows red, the world is warning us.
Increase extraction speed. The planet doesn't like this.
It's responding.
Is this the planet doing this?
No, this is the planet waking up.
A guardian has risen. That thing wasn't on the scans! Target it.
Do not fire.
If we shoot, we start a war. Then we finish it fast.
You were warned.
Long before humanity, before even the first upright hominids walked the Earth, this planet was home to a non-human civilization, Atlantis. Its inhabitants were not human. They were reptilian humanoids, genetically advanced beings descended from an intelligence that arrived from the cosmos in a forgotten age. They did not conquer Earth, they selected it. Their biology was engineered for a young, unstable planet rich in geothermal and cosmic energy. Atlantis was not primitive. It was futuristic even by modern standards. Its cities floated partially above the ocean, held in place by planetary energy fields drawn from Earth's core. Towers of organic crystal and living metal rose from massive circular platforms, aligned with stars that no longer occupy the same positions in the sky. The architecture was not built, it grew. The reptilian Atlanteans mastered technology based on resonance, frequency, and consciousness. They did not rely on machines as humans do. They used the planet itself as their power source. Their temples functioned as planetary control nodes, regulating climate, tectonic movement, and oceans. Their greatest mistake was confidence. By manipulating planetary and cosmic forces, they disrupted the balance that sustained them. Earth's core destabilized. Oceans rose. The global energy network collapsed. In a single day and night, Atlantis fell. The island fractured. Cities sank slowly as energy fields failed one by one. Some Atlanteans escaped, some into the deep ocean, others into subterranean sanctuaries, and a few left the planet entirely. When humans emerged millions of years later, they found no visible ruins. Only myths, only serpent gods, only echoes buried beneath the sea. Atlantis was never a myth. It was Earth's first civilization, and its destruction was a warning humanity has yet to understand. Before he became a hero, Hercules was marked by the hatred of the gods. Son of Zeus, king of Olympus, and a mortal woman, he was born with a strength the world was not ready to face. From the moment he was born, his fate was sealed. Hera, consumed by jealousy, tried to kill him by sending two giant serpents into his cradle. He did not cry. He looked at them and crushed them with his bare hands. Years later, Hercules grew into an unstoppable warrior, loved by the people and feared by his enemies. But tragedy struck when Hera, in a final act of cruelty, clouded his mind. Driven mad, Hercules committed the greatest sin of his life. He destroyed the ones he loved most. When the madness faded, only silence remained and guilt. Broken and desperate for redemption, Hercules begged for punishment. The gods answered with a sentence, 12 impossible labors, trials no man should survive. He slew the Nemean lion, whose hide could not be pierced. He defeated the Hydra, cutting off heads that grew back stronger. He descended into the underworld and returned alive, dragging the fearsome Cerberus into the light. Every battle bled him. Every victory brought him closer to death and closer to legend. In the end, Hercules was no longer just a man of strength. He became proof that even gods can fall and that humans can rise. When his mortal body finally died, the gates of Olympus opened. Zeus called him home, and the man who suffered like no other ascended as a god. Because Hercules was not great because of his strength. He was great because he fell, paid for his guilt, and never stopped fighting. In an age ruled by corrupt kings and false gods, Elijah appeared without warning, no royal blood, no army at his side. He stood before King Ahab with a voice that burned like fire and spoke an impossible judgment. There will be no rain or dew except at my word. And the sky obeyed. The land cracked. Rivers dried. Fear spread through the kingdom. While the people searched for answers, Elijah vanished into the wilderness. There, when food and water no longer existed, God sustained him through ravens, bringing bread and meat day after day. Faith became survival. But the greatest test was yet to come. On Mount Carmel, Elijah stood alone against 450 prophets of Baal. One man versus hundreds. Two altars. Two gods. One eternal question. Who is the true God? The false prophets shouted, danced, and cut themselves, but nothing happened. Silence. Then Elijah rebuilt his altar, soaked it with water, when water was more precious than gold, and prayed once. Fire fell from heaven. Flames consumed the sacrifice, the stones, and even the dust. The people fell to their knees. Power was exposed. Truth was undeniable. Yet even after victory, Elijah faced fear, exhaustion, and despair. He fled, hid in a cave, and asked to die. And there, God did not come in the earthquake, or the wind, or the fire, but in a gentle whisper. Elijah learned that true strength does not always roar. Sometimes, it guides quietly. His story did not end in death. It ended in ascension. A chariot of fire descended from the heavens, and Elijah was taken alive, wrapped in flame and wind, leaving behind a legacy that still burns. Elijah was not just a prophet. He was a warning, a voice against power, a man who walked between heaven and earth, and was claimed by heaven itself.
Million years from now, Earth is no longer the world we recognize. In scorched deserts, colossal creatures evolved to survive extreme heat and radiation. Above the storms, new amulets rule the skies, born from wind and lightning. In the darkest oceans, life grew larger, slower, and more ancient than ever before. Now, some species no longer think alone. They think together. This is science fiction. This is fun. Given time holds.
It wasn't the roar of an animal that warned the forest. It was the sound, a deep, unnatural buzzing, low, heavy, mechanical, like the air itself was being torn apart. Scientists detected it first through acoustic sensors. Then the beekeepers found the hives, silent, torn open, empty. Thousands of bees lay scattered on the ground, decapitated. There was no struggle. It was precise, efficient. The predator descended from the sky. The Asian giant hornet does not attack like other insects. It executes. Its massive orange head houses mandibles that don't sting, they cut. In minutes, a single hornet can erase an entire colony. Not for hunger, for dominance. When the first video surfaced, no one wanted to believe it. The insect was too large, too fast, too perfect. Its wings sounded like engines. Its stinger looked like a living spear. It didn't retreat. It didn't hesitate. It advanced. Bees, the backbone of global pollination, had no defense. And without them, balance collapses. Crops fail. Food chains fracture. Ecosystems unravel. This isn't a movie. This isn't a myth. It's a brutal reminder that nature doesn't need permission to become a threat. And it's already here. The creatures left outside the ark. Before the first rain fell, the world already felt its end approaching. The sky gathered in heavy silence, clouds pressing low over the land, while Noah worked on the ark, guided by a voice older than memory. Animals arrived two by two, lions, birds, cattle, wolves, moving calmly, as if the earth itself was leading them. The ark was not yet a refuge from water, but a boundary between what would be preserved and what would not. From the forgotten edges of creation, other beings appeared. Giants walked from the hills, their footsteps shaking the ground. Hybrid creatures emerged from forests and ruins, forms never meant to endure. They watched the ark with fear and expectation, believing they too belonged among the saved. They were wrong. The ark did not open for them, not because of their shape, but because of their origin. As the rain began, the sky broke open. Water fell in endless sheets, rivers burst their banks, and the world dissolved into motion and sound. Animals outside struggled against the rising flood, while inside the ark, order remained. Wood groaned under the pressure, but it held. Within the ark, common creatures rested, breathing, shifting, surviving. Warm light flickered along wooden walls as the storm raged beyond them. Outside, the rejected ran, flew, roared, and disappeared beneath the rising waters. Some legends say not all of them perished, that a few found caves, depths, or places untouched by the flood. And that is why, even now, humanity tells stories of monsters. Not as myths, but as memories of those who were left behind. The labyrinth breathed. Every stone wall sweated fear, every corridor seemed to shift and change. No one entered without losing something or losing everything. At the heart of Crete, beneath the palace of King Minos, lived the Minotaur. Half man, half beast. A monster born from the punishment of the gods and fed with the blood of the innocent. Its breathing was deep and heavy, like a war drum echoing through the darkness. Its horns bore the scars of countless battles. Its eyes burned with eternal hunger. Each year, young lives were cast into the labyrinth as tribute. None returned, until Theseus arrived. He did not enter as a victim, but as a hunter, son of a king, yet armed only with a sword, courage, and a vow to end the terror. Ariadne, bound by her father's fate, gave him the thread. It was not merely a path to escape, it was an act of defiance against fear. Theseus tied it to his wrist and descended. Darkness swallowed him. Endless corridors. Silence broken only by distant dripping. And then the sound. A heavy, another, hoof striking stone. The Minotaur knew it was not alone. When they met, the air itself trembled. The beast roared, a sound torn from the depths of hell. Theseus felt the creature's weight, pure strength, mindless fury, centuries of confinement turned into violence. The battle was brutal. The Minotaur attacked like a storm, charging, shattering walls, trying to crush the intruder. Theseus moved on instinct, rolling through shadows, feeling the wind of the horns pass inches from his chest. One mistake meant death. Steel struck flesh and bone. Dark blood spilled across the stone. But the monster did not fall. In a brief moment of stillness, Theseus saw more than rage in the beast's eyes. He saw pain. He saw loneliness. A life condemned from birth. He did not hesitate. With a final cry, he drove the blade into the Minotaur's heart. The last roar shook the labyrinth. The beast collapsed, and with it, the fear that had ruled Crete for generations. Theseus stood alone, breathing amid ruins and blood. He was not merely a victor. He was a symbol. For thousands of years, humanity has looked to the sky searching for answers. But the sky did not fall silent out of absence. It fell silent out of disappointment. When the gods first descended, they did not come as conquerors. They came as teachers. In Sumer, they taught humanity to read the stars. In Egypt, they taught stone to defy time. In Mesopotamia, they gave writing so memory would survive death. They did not ask for worship. They asked for balance. But humanity learned quickly, and forgot even faster. Knowledge became power. Power became control. And control became greed. Kings spoke with the voices of gods to rule. Priests sold the heavens for gold. Wars were fought in divine names the gods had never spoken. The gods watched in silence. They saw temples built not to honor, but to dominate. They saw sacrifices offered not from necessity, but from fear. They saw sacred knowledge used to enslave one human by another. And then came the final betrayal. Humanity tried to possess what was never meant to be owned. Immortality without responsibility. Weapons without wisdom. Power without limits. The gods were summoned, not to learn, but to obey. That day, the sky did not answer with fire. It answered with withdrawal. The gods did not die. They were not defeated. They simply left. They sealed their gates. They dimmed their voices. They left behind fragments, symbols, ruins, myths, and distorted memories. Not as punishment, but as a warning, for they understood something terrible. Humanity was not ready to be guided, only to command. And so the sky has remained silent, not because it is empty, but because it is watching from afar, waiting for the day humanity looks upward, not to ask for power, but to ask for forgiveness. The Garden of Eden was never a paradise. It was a restricted zone. What ancient texts later described as rivers of life and sacred trees were, in reality, energy conduits, biodomes, and genetic control systems. Eden was a high-security biological laboratory built on Earth more than 200,000 years ago by a civilization that descended from the sky, the Anunnaki. The forbidden translations of the Sumerian tablets do not speak of gods. They speak of engineers, scientists, and overseers. And they speak of an experiment, the Adapa Project. Humanity was not created. It was designed. The Anunnaki arrived seeking resources, gold, rare elements, biological materials. But the planet was hostile, and their numbers were few. They needed workers who could survive Earth's environment and obey without rebellion. In underground laboratories beneath Eden, they began splicing their own DNA with that of primitive hominids. Most prototypes failed, either too aggressive, too intelligent, or incapable of control. Then came Adapa. Known later as Adam, he was the first successful hybrid. Intelligent, curious, but his genetic code contained a deliberate limitation, a neural restriction that suppressed independent thought, curiosity, and defiance. Fear was embedded into his biology. Adapa was not born free. He was programmed. The serpent. Not all Anunnaki agreed with the project. Enki, the chief geneticist, discovered something unexpected within the human genome, dormant potential. If fully activated, humans could surpass their creators in creativity, adaptability, and consciousness. But that potential had been intentionally locked. Enki questioned the morality of enslaving an entire species. His solution was subtle, hidden, symbolic, what later myths would call the serpent. Enki did not offer evil. He offered knowledge. Through a genetic intervention, he reactivated suppressed neural pathways in Adapa and the first female hybrid, later called Eve. Self-awareness emerged. Choice appeared. For the first time, humans understood they were not God's children, but property. The true original sin. The moment humanity became self-aware, Eden's systems detected a breach. Alarms activated. Energy barriers ignited. The Anunnaki Council declared the experiment compromised. This was later remembered as original sin. Not disobedience, but awakening. To prevent rebellion, the Anunnaki initiated an emergency genetic rollback. Shortened lifespans, amplified fear responses, emotional dependency, and a deep psychological need to worship higher beings. Humans were expelled from Eden not as punishment, but because the laboratory was no longer secure. Before she became a monster, Medusa was a woman. In ancient Greece, when gods walked among mortals and divine decisions shaped human destiny, Medusa was known for her extraordinary beauty. Her hair shone like gold in the sunlight, and her presence inspired admiration, not fear. She was a young priestess in the temple of Athena, goddess of wisdom and justice, bound by a vow of purity and devotion. But the gods did not always protect the innocent. Poseidon, god of the sea, desired Medusa. One night, inside Athena's sacred temple, he violated her. The crime took place where holiness should have guaranteed safety. When Athena discovered what had happened, her anger did not fall upon the god who committed the act, but upon the mortal woman who had no power to resist. Whether from pride, rage, or divine cruelty, Athena chose punishment over mercy. Medusa was transformed. Her beautiful hair twisted into living serpents, hissing and writhing without rest. Her skin turned pale and cold, and her eyes were cursed with a terrible power. Anyone who looked directly at her would be turned to stone. Cast out and condemned, Medusa was exiled to the edge of the world. There, she lived alone among ruins and shadows, surrounded by stone figures of men and beasts who had crossed her path. They were not trophies of violence, but silent graves, victims of a curse she never chose. Over time, the world forgot the woman and remembered only the monster. Heroes spoke of her danger, not her suffering. When Perseus arrived, sent by the gods, he did not see the broken priestess beneath the serpents. Using the reflection of his shield to avoid her gaze, he struck while she slept and cut off her head. From Medusa's blood sprang Pegasus, the winged horse, and Chrysaor, proof that even from injustice, something divine could be born. Her severed head, still powerful, was used as a weapon by Athena herself. Thus, Medusa passed into legend as a creature of terror. But those who know the truth understand this. The Nephilim, giants before the flood. Before the Great Flood, the world was already falling. In the ancient days, when humanity still feared the heavens, the Watchers descended. They were not sent as messengers, but fell by their own will, powerful angels who abandoned their place and crossed an eternal boundary. They looked upon the daughters of men, and desired what was forbidden. From that union came the Nephilim, giants of overwhelming strength. Their footsteps shook the earth and their voices thundered across the land. Where they walked, men fled. Where they ruled, mercy vanished. They built massive cities, raised stone thrones, and declared themselves gods among mortals. Their hunger was endless. Their pride knew no limit. War spread across the earth. Blood stained the soil. Violence became law, and creation itself groaned beneath their rule. What was meant for life was twisted by corruption. From the heavens, judgment was pronounced. The Watchers were condemned and bound in darkness, but the Nephilim remained, defiant, mocking the coming destruction. They laughed at warnings and trusted in their own strength. Amid this world of giants and ruin, Noah walked in quiet obedience. While the Nephilim feasted and humanity mocked, he built an ark beneath clear skies, guided by a voice only he obeyed. Then the day arrived. The sky broke open. The fountains of the deep burst forth. Rain fell without mercy, oceans rose, and the earth trembled. The giants ran, fought, and roared, but even their power could not stand against the waters. Towers collapsed. Cities vanished. The Nephilim were swallowed by the flood. When the waters finally withdrew, the world stood silent. The giants were gone, but their memory remained. For the story of the Nephilim is not only a tale of the past, it is an eternal warning. When pride rises above the heavens, creation itself will rise to restore the boundary. And so ended the age of giants, buried beneath the waters of judgment, yet echoing through time. The story you know was not passed down intact. It was edited, not by mistake, but by necessity. From the beginning, there were texts that could not survive because they did not teach obedience, but awakening. They spoke of an inner kingdom, of a divinity without temples or intermediaries, and that made them dangerous. In those writings, Jesus was not a distant figure. He laughed, doubted, walked among a few, and asked for silence, not worship. He said the truth was not in the heavens, but within the human being. A message like that could serve no empire. The most feared text carried the name of Judas. There was no betrayal in it, only obedience. Someone had to carry the hatred so the story could function. If that gospel were revealed, the cross would lose its mystery, and faith would lose its most powerful weapon, guilt. Another writing spoke of a woman whose voice was erased, not as a sinner, but as the disciple who understood what others could not. Her knowledge united body and spirit, equality and freedom. That is why her name was stained and her message buried. A woman holding truth was an intolerable threat. Banning the texts was not enough. They were hunted, burned, erased. Libraries turned to ash, and those who knew too much learned to remain silent. God was not being protected, only a convenient version of him. Centuries later, in a desert cave, a monk found what was never meant to exist. Reading it, he understood that those writings did not destroy faith, but the fear that sustained it. He could not save them all. Some he burned, others he buried, knowing that truth does not die, it waits. Today, only fragments remain,